Good evening, I'm Professor Michael and you're watching Kini News, the show that brings you today's biggest stories. You may not be a big fan of the movement control order, but thanks to it, we're seeing some positive results. Malaysia continues to report fewer new COVID-19 cases and a growing number of recoveries. On Friday, Health Ministry Director General Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah announced 201 recoveries, bringing the total number of recoveries to 2,967. Today also saw one of the lowest daily detections of new COVID-19 cases since the movement control order began, with 69 new cases. This puts the total number of active cases at 2,198. Dr. Noor Hisham also reported 2 new deaths, bringing the death toll to 86.
Ada satu ketika kes 4,000 lebih. Sekarang ni kes yang keboleh jangkitan hanya 2,198. Jadi tindakan kita, walaupun hari ini kita ada 69 kes, tetapi apa yang penting ialah kita kurangkan lagi kes keboleh jangkitan ini mungkin dari kurang pada 2,000 ataupun 1,500. Jadi bila dia kurang, pengawalan tu lebih baik dan lebih mudah untuk Kementerian Kesihatan untuk fokus pada kawasan dan ataupun lokasi dan juga kumpulan yang risiko tinggi.
You know what's worse than not complying with the MCO? That's telling other people how they can violate it. Senior Minister Ismail Sabri Yaakob revealed that the police have identified the family in a viral post on social media yesterday for allegedly giving tips on how to pass through police roadblocks during the movement control order period.
Tular di media sosial seorang dan juga keluarga viral menunjukkan mereka sudah balik ke Kuala Lumpur dan akhir memberi tips kepada orang ramai bagaimana cara nak menipu polis. Saya ingin beritahu kepada semua, saya nak beri ingatan kepada semua, jangan berbangga apabila melakukan kesalahan dan mempengaruhi orang lain supaya mengikut tindak tanduk mereka untuk melakukan kesalahan. Saya ingin jelaskan bahawa pihak polis telah pun mengenal pasti mereka ini dan tindakan akan diambil kepada mereka.
Ismail also revealed that a total number of over 12,000 people have been arrested for violating the MCO so far.
PDRM telah menangkap 1,057 individu kerana engkar PKP yang tindakannya merangkumi 906 individu direman dan 151 individu diberikan jaminan polis. Seramai 622 individu telah dituduh di mahkamah di atas kesalahan mengingkari PKP.
Phase 3 of the movement control order will end on April 28th. Any decision on whether to extend the MCO or not will be based on the advice of the Health Ministry. We're all big fans of Dr. Noor Hisham for his professionalism, but there's a softer side many of us have yet to see. The country's top health official, Dr. Noor Hisham Abdullah, has been gaining popularity, perhaps even becoming the face of the fight against COVID-19 in Malaysia, as he leads the daily press conference in a calm and collected manner with knowledge right at his fingertips. Today, Malaysians got a glimpse of a lighter side of the Health Ministry Director General after he wrote back to a 3rd grader who sent him a letter and a friendship bracelet she made for him. Dr. Noor Hisham's response was shared by the primary school student's brother on Twitter. The Standard 3 student from a national school in Terengganu said she often made loom bands for her friends as a sign of friendship, and she had made one specially for Dr. Noor Hisham to thank him for his hard work in helping Malaysia during the COVID-19 crisis. She even signed off the letter by referring to Dr. Hisham as her friend. According to her brother, the letter was sent to Dr. Hisham's office and contained the cell phone number of their mother. And to their surprise, he replied. He thanked her for her bracelet and said his granddaughter has been wearing it. In the letter, he also encouraged her to study hard, as one day it would be her turn to help the country, before signing off by referring to himself as a new friend. Dr. Mahathir Mohamad, who was Prime Minister when the COVID-19 outbreak was in its early stages, has shared insight on what's needed to overcome the crisis as a nation. Former Prime Minister Dr. Mahathir Mohamad said today that discipline and a person's attitude are vital aspects in controlling the COVID-19 pandemic. He said this on a Facebook Live session with respiratory specialist Dr. Nurul Yakin today in response to a question on what Malaysia can learn from countries like South Korea and China in combating the outbreak.
Kerana mereka adalah negara yang begitu berdisiplin. Apabila diarah membuat sesuatu, maka mereka patuh kepada arahan.
Mahathir said the situation is different in countries such as the United States and those in Europe, where their citizens don't seem to listen to instructions from their respective governments. He added that when it comes to combating viruses, the main concern would be controlling infections. He noted that Western countries that still prioritize freedom over discipline during the pandemic will face problems.
Jadi walaupun kita tidak suka kerajaan begitu menghalang kebebasan dan sebagainya, di zaman ini kita utamakan sekali kebebasan, freedom, dan ini yang menyebabkan kita tidak boleh kontrol. Kita nak kontrol dengan kerajaan membuat satu-satu keputusan, rakyat ikut. Di disiplin ini memang bercanggah dengan sifat freedom. Disiplin means kita ikut peraturan dan kita tidak langgar peraturan. Tetapi apabila kita mempunyai sifat utamakan kebebasan, maka tidak ada disiplin. Dan bila tidak ada disiplin, peraturan tidak dipatuhi dan kita terima akibat daripadanya.
His Majesty the Yang di-Pertuan Agong is happy with the compliance rate of the MCO as the nation begins to show positive signs with fewer cases. When the movement control order first came into effect, Yang di-Pertuan Agong Sultan Abdullah Sultan Ahmad Shah checked on several roadblocks by driving himself around the nation's capital to monitor the situation and advised Malaysians to stay at home. Now as the country enters phase 3 of the MCO, His Majesty is still monitoring the compliance closely. The Agong went to the ground himself last night to observe the traffic situation in Kuala Lumpur. Istana Negara through its Instagram said that the Agong was satisfied with the cooperation given by the public in complying with the order. The Agong also expressed support for the efforts made by the government through the third phase of the MCO and hoped that the people will continue to give priority to their personal hygiene and remain at home to curb the spread of COVID-19. Yesterday, His Majesty also made a personal donation to the COVID-19 fund. Istana Negara said that the donation was presented to Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin through the Comptroller of the Royal Household of Istana Negara, Ahmad Fadil Samsudin. On March 31st, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong and Raja Permaisuri Agong, Tunku Azizah Aminah Maimunah Iskandaria, agreed to forgo their royal emoluments for 6 months from March to August this year to ease the burden of the government in handling the COVID-19 pandemic in the country. Echoing the call made by Anwar Ibrahim this week, another opposition leader has called for an emergency parliament sitting. DAP veteran Lim Kit Siang has urged Prime Minister Muhyiddin Yassin to hold a live telecast to share details on the government's exit plan when the movement control order is lifted in phases. He said with signs of the COVID-19 infection curve flattening, it is essential that the government starts planning for the best exit strategy from the MCO. In a statement today, he said the world needs to accept the reality that it has to learn to live with the COVID-19 disease for the next 12 to 24 months until an effective vaccine is developed and widely available, as no country can survive an economic lockdown for a year, let alone 2. Kit Siang also said Parliament must meet to specifically address the COVID-19 pandemic as well as the public health and economic crisis it has created for Malaysians. The Iskandar Putri MP pointed out that various state assemblies have met and questioned why Parliament is being emasculated and marginalised. He said Malaysia should not be like the UK, where different ministers are working on their own exit plans, with the absence of Prime Minister Boris Johnson, who is recovering from COVID-19. Coming up next, the US plans to reopen its economy and the UK has extended lockdown measures. With 33,000 deaths from COVID-19, the US believes it has passed the peak of the outbreak and is planning to reopen the economy slowly. New York and 6 other northeastern states on Thursday extended coronavirus stay-at-home orders to May 15th, as US President Donald Trump issued new federal guidelines for a cautious reopening of the economy in keeping with advice from leading public health authorities. The president, who had pressed to restart idled businesses as early as May 1st and had declared total authority to do so, settled instead for a phased-in science-based strategy, heeding warnings from infectious disease experts that easing social distancing too soon would invite disaster.
Governors will be empowered to tailor approach that meets the diverse circumstances of their own states. Every state is very different. They're all beautiful. We love them all, but they're very, very different. If they need to remain closed, we will allow them to do that. And if they believe it is time to reopen, we will provide them the freedom and guidance to accomplish that task, and very, very quickly, depending on what they want to do.
The recommendations call on states to show a downward trajectory of COVID-19 cases or positive tests for the disease over 14 days before proceeding with the plan, which gradually loosens restrictions on businesses that have been shuttered to blunt the spread of the virus. US coronavirus deaths rose to above 33,000 on Thursday, according to a Reuters tally. The United States is the world's worst affected country, with fatalities doubling in just a week. Deaths rose by nearly 2,200 on Thursday, with a few states yet to report, after a record single-day increase of 2,507 on Wednesday. US coronavirus cases totaled more than 665,000 on Thursday, up nearly 28,000. With the fifth highest death toll in the world, Britain will be extending its nationwide lockdown. Britain extended its nationwide lockdown on Thursday as stand-in leader Dominic Raab ordered Britons to stay at home for at least another 3 weeks to prevent the spread of a coronavirus outbreak, which has already claimed over 138,000 lives globally.
Look, I appreciate that the impact of these measures is considerable on people, on businesses across the country, whether it's the costs being shouldered, the sacrifices people are making, being isolated from friends and family, whole households cooped up inside all week long, parents having difficult conversations with their young children who just don't understand why they can't go and see their grandparents or go outside and meet up with friends as they would normally do.
Raab is deputising while Prime Minister Boris Johnson recuperates from COVID-19 complications that nearly cost him his life. Raab chaired an emergency meeting on Thursday to review scientific evidence on the impact of the existing lockdown. The United Kingdom has the fifth highest official death toll from COVID-19 in the world, after the United States, Italy, Spain and France, though Britain's figures only cover hospital fatalities and the real number is probably much higher.
And every time I come to this lectern and I read out the grim toll of people who have so sadly passed away, I walk away from here and I think about what their sons and their daughters must be going through right now. Their brothers, their sisters, their grandchildren, all the loved ones left behind with that unbearable, life-changing, long-term grief. It makes this government focus even harder on what we must do.
The announcement, which had been widely expected, means Britons must stay at home unless they are shopping for basic necessities or meeting medical needs. Citizens are allowed to exercise in public once a day and can travel to work if they are unable to work at home. And that is all from me today. For more stories, you can go to KiniTV.com. You can also follow us on Instagram, Twitter, YouTube and Facebook for the latest news stories. You can catch me again next week, same time, same place. I'm Prasad Michael. Thank you for watching.